Job chapter 18, verse 11. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. All right. Before I get on, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you, hopefully elect out there. All right. And as a little saying of mine's, good news. Well, more so, what's considered bad news to this world is really our good news. All right, it's really our gospel. All right, because with just paying attention to this whole BRICS summit, one of the main keys, one of the main key points in this summit, this BRICS summit, all right, which BRICS consists of the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All right, and again, one of the key points. Well, now it's really the BRICS Plus. Because you got a lot of these countries that want to partake, and it's getting to a point now where is getting to a point where, because pretty much with the expansion of BRICS, all right, I was saying it's getting to a point where they're basically extending this invitation. They're giving out this almost like this free invitation for these countries to join. All right, and one of the major bulletins within the key points, all right, as far as the extension, the invitation, I'll say, that BRICS is inviting to join the BRICS would be Saudi Arabia. All right. And, as we've touched on before, going into the importance, how important Saudi Arabia is as far as the West is concerned, which is why I got this video here, because, before I do any rambling, before I ramble on, this chick here, what's her name? Alina Petrova. All right. She pretty much explains it all in a nutshell, so to say. So I'm gonna read this one more time in Job 18 and 11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet, because more and more America is being weakened. All right. The scriptures talk about the golden cup hath ceased. Right, America's just not the big bad bully on the block anymore, man. Western hegemony is coming to an end, and like I said, because that's bad news for the West. All right, but typically, what's bad news for these people is really our gospel. It's really good news for us. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play some of this video, and Lord willing, because I'm not going to play the whole video, but Lord willing, I remember to leave the link of this video in the description if you want to check it out. So without further ado.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. The 15th BRICS Summit has ended. Its third and the final day was really interesting because it was filled with highly anticipated announcements on the bloc's expansion this year, as well as commentary on new trade ties and currency. But first, before I get into the details, I hope that you consider subscribing to my channels on Rumble and YouTube. I would love to see you join me on Rumble, by the way. Make sure that you like this video so more people see it, and find me on Substack for more content. So as expected, one of the biggest announcements made during the final day was the leaders' decision to admit new members. BRICS leaders agreed to admit not just one country, but a group of 6 new members. Remember the famous quote by Kissinger, control oil and you control nations, control food, and you control people? So the new BRICS bloc will be in control of 80%, that's right, 80% of the world's oil production.
So again, that's major news. You know, this Eastern Bloc controlling 80% of the oil production. That's no small thing. 'Cause like I said, Western hegemony is is waning, man. Is fading out. All right, because once these things really come into play, once they're in full effect, it's just a matter of time before we start seeing the effects. You know, this is gonna this will in fact lead to a cascading effect, man, a major domino effect, which ultimately, you know, just all out chaos. You know, I was watching some stuff, paying attention to some stuff as far as Argentina. You know, because hey, with the inflation just continuing to skyrocket, the crime is soaring, crime going through the roof, because it's impossible to live, basically, right? Yeah, man. I'm gonna play that part back.
And find me on Substack for more content. So as expected, one of the biggest announcements made during the final day was the leaders' decision to admit new members. BRICS leaders agreed to admit not just one country, but a group of 6 new members. Remember the famous quote by Kissinger, control oil and you control nations, control food, and you control people? So the new BRICS bloc will be in control of 80%, that's right, 80% of the world's oil production. So with that, it is no surprise that the new members of the bloc are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. They have been invited to join. Their membership will take effect on January the 1st, 2024. With its expansion, the GDP of BRICS is now 36% of global GDP, and they now represent 46% of the world's population. So nearly half of the world's population is now part of the BRICS bloc.
We've decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024. Thank you very much.
Dishwashers use 80% less water than hand washing and save $130 on utilities. Cascade.
Starbucks Double Shot Energy Drink. What gives you energy?
Thank you very much.
All right, so Salaki, before I play some more of this, because this whole Eastern Bloc, which is mainly being spearheaded by Russia and China, all right, just real quick, because I always say, hypothetically speaking, you know, if the Lord wasn't involved, and the Lord just continued to let this, you know, world play out, you know, just let things continue as they are, and, you know, let's just say that the Lord wasn't going to return soon, or, you know, let's just say he wasn't going to return at all. I always say, hypothetically speaking, that China will be the new America, you know, and NATO would be the new of Slovakia. Russia would be the new NATO. You know, China would be the new. Well, I'll say it like this, because I said it backwards. No, wait, because as far as the economic force, China would be the new economic force, and Russia would be the new military force. Again, hypothetically speaking. All right. So I'm gonna get this real quick, because again, this whole Eastern Bloc is mainly being spearheaded by China and Russia, right? Well, real quick, the second Exodus 15. I'm going to start at verse 46. And thou, Asia, talking about Moab, the so-called Chinese, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Because another thing, I just, so to say, in a roundabout way, Moab is like a little sister. Moab is like Moab is like Babylon's little sister. Little twin sister almost, so to say. A little miniature copycat, I'll say. All right. Because when you pay attention to how they move, they've basically taken Esau's blueprint. They've taken his patent, and like I said, they're miniature copycat of Babylon. All right. So again, and thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, because you do have Moab thinking that they're next to rule. And like I said, hypothetically speaking, Moab would be the new economic force, financial force, so to say. All right, and Russia would be that military force. And like I said, Moab, they do think that they're next to rule. It says, "Woe be unto thee, thou wretched, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, thus saith the Lord." So you see, that was the point. All right, Moab being a copycat of just stealing the blueprint of Esau, America, because at one point you didn't have Moabites walking around with three-piece suits on, they wore their natural attire, their natural garments and whatnot. But now they're walking around there with three-piece suits, women are wearing jeans and whatnot. They got McDonald's out there, you see. So, nevertheless, hey, there's a message to all these nations. All right. Real quick, I'm gonna jump to this because it's cold. I'm gonna go back to Job 18 because, well, let me not jump the gun. I'm gonna go to this real quick in Isaiah. Isaiah 34:1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. Because you see, hey, the Lord has a message for all these nations. All right. Now, as concerning salvation, that's only for the nation of Israel, and only for a select few. All right, because again, the Lord has a message for everyone. All right, He has a message for all nations, all people. But like I said, as far as salvation is concerned, that's only for the nation of Israel and the elect at that. All right, but for everyone else, hey, the Lord has a message for them too. And basically, hey, get ready to drink the cup of the wrath of the Lord's indignation, man. And quite frankly, get ready for slavery. All right, because again, these are Moabites. They're proud too, and like I said, they're thinking that they're next to rule. Way, they yeah, y'all get ready for slavery too. You Ammonites, so-called Japanese, all you Hamite tribes, right? All y'all going into slavery, man, because it was only prophesied that after Esau, the nation of Israel would be set back up in power. So Moab, hey, just get ready for slavery, man. Now going to this, because as I said, this whole Eastern Bloc is being mainly ran by Moab and the Chinese and the Russians, right? So going to Isaiah 38. Isaiah 38, verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. And just look it up real quick, because I think the word Gog, it just goes into it just goes into like basically like the leader, you know. And as far as Magog, you know, that's the general vicinity, or the, you know, the like the general area. All right. Which Japhet was originally there first, but Esau, being who he is, you know, took over not only the landmass, but the identity, stole the name, right? You know, because yeah, the Lord is going to use Russia, the Russian Edomites. And you know, we were talking about this past Saturday at the camp, how when it comes to Esau and his power, man, you know, no nation can really mess with Esau except other Edomites. All right, and that's why by the hand of Esau, you know, the sword is going to fall upon his own head, man. You know, because the Lord's going to use them Russian Edomites to destroy, you know, America, this beast system. You know, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the Lord has, you know, he has any type of feelings for Russian, you know, the Russian Edomites. No, they're still Edomites, and they're going to get judged too. I'm gonna jump down to verse 4. It says, "And I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords." And you see, man, because you know, they're getting a taste of warfare now with this whole proxy war out there in Ukraine. You know, a lot of these and as of right now, a little sidebar is being said that, hey, at any moment, any day now, you know, China is set to invade Taiwan. All right, you see, man. So you know, the spirit of war is in the air right now. All right, that energy, that vibration is out there. All right, we are in a time of war. All right, you know, and it's like the you know, because like I said, with them Russian Edomites, you know, they're getting their feet wet, because hey, when it comes down to it, eventually we're gonna start seeing these foreign troops over here in America. All right, you know, America will start getting invaded pretty soon. You know, Lord willing, sooner than soon. But nevertheless, reading on, it says, you know, because because I mentioned NATO, right? You know, again, hypothetically speaking, Russia would be the new NATO. You know, because hey, NATO was in fact created. NATO was created to combat the USSR. You know, in this code, because you know, after World War II, the Lord had it set up to where NATO was set up, right? EU, the NATO, which consists of the beast, it was set up not too long after World War II, because if not, then Russia would have, World War III would have took place a lot sooner. The one that's, you know, than today. You know, World War III would have taken place a long time ago. It would have taken place not too long after World War II. You see, but of course, prophecies had to play out, and you know, so that's why again, NATO was set up to combat the USSR. But we're in times now where Lord willing, these things are about to be fulfilled. These things are about to come to pass. All right, because like I said, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. So you see, the Lord is putting that old USSR spirit back into them Russians. That's why they're trying to, you know, gather up those lands, you know, gather up those certain places, you know, get them back, you know, basically trying to bring back the USSR, basically, you know. But reading on to verse 5, it says Persia, which, you know, that's one of the countries, the so-called Iranians, you know, that BRICS has extended this open invitation to, right? And that's cool because Saudi Arabia, and matter of fact, when you go back to what was that, second Ezra 15, it talks about that, you know. Probably do a separate lesson on that. Because them Persians and them the Saudi Arabians, the Saudis, man, they didn't get along for a while. Well, now they're talking business. You know, they weren't getting along for a while. Well, now they're talking business. And now, two of the, other out of the other countries that have been invited to join the BRICS, right? Two of those countries that being Iran and the Saudis, which again is not good news for America whatsoever. All right. So when you read on to verse 5 again, it says Persia, Ethiopia, which that's the spirit, because you got Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, you know. It says in Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, and I'm not even going to take it there as far as, Turkey. I'm not even going to take it there in this video, because as of right now, Turkey is an ally to NATO, America, the West. But eventually, you see all of America's allies are going to turn on America. Eventually, all right. Saudi Arabia being one again. That's a major. Saudi Arabia was at one point one of America's biggest allies. All right. And just over time, more and more, the Saudis have been they've been moving away from Babylon. You see. So you're gonna have the Saudis, Turkey, all of America's allies. Japan is an ally to America. Well, hey, they just had their anniversary of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So you see what America has done to these countries, man. These countries they haven't forgotten. It's not like these countries want to do business with America because they love America. No, it's business because it's exactly that. It's just good business for now. You see them Russian Edomites, they're pretty much for the moment they're offering a better deal for these countries. So that's why more and more of these countries, man, they're wanting to, they're like, sign me up, And that's why we're going to see more and more countries signing with the BRICS or wanting to join the BRICS, all right, which includes all of America's allies, all right, because we don't know how it's going to play out, but at some point all of America's allies are going to turn on America, all right, and we're already seeing that, all right. But it says Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah in the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So, like I said, because just bring it back to the point, like I mentioned, this whole Eastern Bloc is being mostly ran by China and Russia. All right. You see, man? And Russia's going to act as a guard. More and more nations are going to start siding with Russia. Because, again, America's not the big bad bully in the block. And basically what Russia has been talking, all right, the shit that Russia has been talking, all these countries, for the most part, they've been feeling that way. It's just Russia, they had the balls to say it. They were the ones that actually stand up and call America's bluff. So now, there's a new big bat bully on the block. There's a new big bat bully on the block, man. And in America, she ain't it no more. This is not the place to be anymore. This place is on its way out. Again, the Western hegemony is coming to an end. All right. So, playing some more of this video.
Even though in the beginning of the summit, the leaders were pointing out that their primary goal is not necessarily to become a rival of G7, but rather to create an environment that would benefit their developing nations, that would help them solve their issues, it has become clear that the new expanded BRICS bloc is now in a position to completely transform the world. Africa will stop exporting raw materials. Instead, they will work to create employment opportunities for their own citizens, which will be a significant boost to their GDP, as well as help them gain more revenue by exporting minerals and refined materials and finished goods, since those are more expensive to purchase. Now let's talk about oil production. This is something that cannot be ignored. With the addition of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iran to BRICS, the bloc will control the biggest share of the world's oil production. They will control 80%. Oil prices impact the price of transportation, the price of goods and services across the entire world. So the BRICS countries don't want to trade using the US dollar. So not only will they control oil production, they will also be able to determine, to shape the fate of the petrodollar. The petrodollar will gradually weaken as the result of weak demand demand, and in turn, it will shake up the US economy and it will shake up the economies of those countries that are heavily dependent on a strong dollar. The financing of the bloc's strategic projects will have nothing to do with the IMF or the World Bank, which again will mean further drive to de-dollarize the world's developing nations. BRICS countries will fund their infrastructure development through the New Development Bank, or in other words, the Bank of BRICS. President Lula pointed out that, quote, ambitious projects are underway in Africa for the construction of free trade zones. These projects are great opportunities for Brazilian commodities and products such as food, iron and steel manufacturers, hydrocarbons, and a variety of minerals. The addition of the new countries, as well as the bloc's trade using their local currencies, are expected to drive their sharp GDP growth in the future. Their combined GDP is projected to exceed $30 trillion. Now let's talk about the new currency. BRICS seeks to officially abandon US dollar for trade settlements. Brazil's President Lula said...
So you see, man, I mean, it's a lot to take in, this new system that they're trying to set up. And it's interesting because, again, this new system, before the thought slips, like she mentioned, it's not going to involve the IMF or listen, the more and more nations that join the BRICS and they dump the dollars, listen, man, all those dollars are going to come back to, to Babylon shores, man. And again, this is when, like I said, this is going to lead to a cascade of events, man. It's going to lead to some serious. We're talking about hyperinflation. I say super hyperinflation, man. Man, yeah, it's about to get wild. This Lord willing, because they said this was set to take place January 4th. I'm sorry, January of next year, right? But anything can happen then, because as I was about to say, we all know, or we should know. If you don't know, then you need to look it up. As far as countries, that have tried to, do business outside of the dollar, they try to, do their own thing, and they just, try to move around the dollar. Like I said, we all know, or we should know, if you don't know, then you need to look into it. So quite frankly, this could lead to war. All right, now, pretty much we're already in World War III, pretty much. It's just not to the, there's stages to it, there's levels to it. But this could, this could lead to all out war, because again, we know what happens when countries try to do business outside or around the dollar, man. And that's exactly what this, this Eastern Bloc and these nations. Hell, you had India, the Prime Minister, talking about basically trading and not using the I think they were talking about using the rupee and not using trading in the rupee and not using the petrodollar. You see, man. So yeah, man. It's about to be some shit out here, man. Like I said, Western hegemony is more and more is fading out, man. It's America is done. All right, America is done. I'm gonna go ahead and get this, because again, more and more we are going to see America's allies turn their back on her. All right, like I said, more of these countries that are using the dollar, more countries are gonna, go basically run away from the dollar, and that's gonna, like I said, man, once all those dollars start coming back to America, man. Again, this is where we're gonna see super hyperinflation, quote unquote. All right, super hyperinflation, man. It's about to get ridiculous out here. There was a point that she made. Let's see if I can rewind real quick.
Steel manufacturers, hydrocarbons, and a variety of minerals.
Just the point that again, 80% of the oil, 80%. Man, that's no small number, man. That's no light thing. 80% of the oil product, man. Sheesh, and you see again, because it's just like more fuel to the fire. Everything is basically based off that oil, man. That's how the transportation, you know, is going to be affected. Everything, man, because that's how the goods come to the stores, and just man, you know, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. Everything has been, ran by oil, man. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, yeah, man, it's about to be some shit. But I'm gonna get this in Obadiah. And yeah, the Wadi Yabashim, I'm gonna go back to that. Matter of fact, let me go back to it now before it slips. In Job 18. Because again, it's cold because a lot of these countries, they're using America's blueprint against them. and it's setting the stage up for America to fall. It's cold. But Job 18, I'm gonna start at verse 7. The whole chapter is pretty good, but I'm gonna start at verse 7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and walketh upon a snare. So you see, man. Like I said, a lot of these countries are using America's blueprint against America, and now America's trapped up in his own snare. It's trapped up in his own trap. It says, for verse 9, the gent shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. In verse 11, terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. So you see, man, this reign of terror that Esau has used to plague the earth. Well, now that terror is coming upon his own head. It's coming back upon Babylon. Was that Isaiah 33? It talks about, woe unto thee that has spoiled us, but thou hast not been spoiled. You dealt treacherously, but thou hasn't been dealt with treacherously, roughly paraphrasing. Well, you see, it's all going to come back on America's own soil. All right? It's going to come back on America's own soil, man. Because all these sanctions, the hammer of the earth, right? How rigorously, and treacherously America has dealt with her own allies at that, America's done her own allies wrong. You see? So, that's a part of it. It's all going to come back to bite her in the ass. Right? So going to Obadiah 1. Obadiah 1 and 7, just get to the point. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him. So you see, man, just to land back that Job 18, man. Because, listen, like I said, there's this reign of terror that Esau, hey, it's all coming back to haunt, to bite them in the ass. All those sanctions, you can only but put sanctions on a country for so long until eventually, man, and that's exactly what happened. Because, like I was saying, you put sanctions on certain nations for so long, eventually they figure out a different system. They figure out how to work around those sanctions. And that's exactly what happened with the Russians. All right, a lot of these countries, man, they just figured out how to work around it. And, hey, now you got stuff like this Eastern Bloc. All right, this new hegemony on the rise. And now America's being brought low. All right, she's being cast down, man. Like I said, the golden cup has ceased, man. This place is through. There's no healing agent. There's no balm for her wound. She's done. This place is through. This is the final curtain call for Babylon the Great. This is the final curtain call, man. Because eventually, like I said, World War III will break out, and it's going to just lead to all these countries shooting missiles at this place. All right, and this place is being a forever being a forever monument, man, a memorial. You know, Babylon the Great, right? You know, but yeah, you know, just to speak on some news, man. As far as this BRICS summit, all right, major news, you know, and not good news to the world, and not good news for America, but it's definitely our good news. You know, it's definitely our gospel. You know, so as I say, man, just sit back, get your spiritual popcorn ready, because this shit is about to boil over. You know, and just in time with the talks of new, you know, the restrictions coming back and lockdowns, and it's just a man. just we just have to wait and see, man. You know, it's about to get crazy out here, but Lord willing, this was edifying. All praise to Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.